Just a quick disclaimer before we start this episode. This is the first time that we've recorded remotely, so there may be a few audio hiccups along the way, but please bear with us and enjoy.
Before we talk about gods, right? What's your opinions on hitting old people? How old does someone have to be till you can't hit them?
So just to start the episode, Maddie Neddy fought a 60-year-old. You want to tell us that story, dude?
He was older than 60. If he was 60, I'd have hit him. I want that on record. If he was 60, I'd have punched him. Yeah.
Yeah, what happened?
So I came home and then I drive into the basement, live in an apartment building. So drive into the basement and then get into the lift. And this old fella's there. And he's like, I reckon 70, around 70-ish, like absolute fossil, you know what I mean? Like old as fuck. And then I get in the lift and then he follows, well, he doesn't follow me and like, I think he had to get in like, but he gets in behind me and then he's like, do you always drive like that? And I'm like, what? He's like, do you always drive like that? I said, what are you talking about? And he was like, you were tailgating me.
Is this a Vietnamese man?
He had some kind of European accent speaking in English. I don't know where in Europe. Could have been Russian, could have been French.
I see.
Probably Russian. Probably Russian, to be honest. But anyway, and he's like, you were tailgating me. And I'm like, what? I just went, what are you talking about? He said, you were tailgating me there. I went, shut up. And then he said, you were tailgating me. And he said, if you do it again, I'll put you down. And I was just shocked. And I laughed. I went, no, you won't. And he went, I will. If you do it again, I'll put you down. And I was like, I just went, okay. At the end of it, I got out the lift. And then as I'm getting out the lift, I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, I wouldn't be surprised if he's just like some crazy senile old man and he's going to like try and hit me in the back of the head or something while I'm getting out. So I'm kind of like a little bit alert.
Right.
Yeah, a little bit like, what's he going to do? And then he's just, standing there being angry.
So you almost picked a fight with somebody with
I didn't pick the fight.
Probably severe dementia.
I mean, I would hope he's got severe dementia. I mean, I hope that wasn't him when he's just normal.
You really can't win a fight against a dementia patient. You know, there's no winning. There's no winning that fight.
Yeah, there was no. That was the thing. There was no winning this fight. Like just some crazy old man in a lift telling me that I was tailgating him, and like I don't know. I've got no idea if I was tailgating.
You could have been. I mean, it's all you.
So, but like, is there an age limit for when you can hit someone and when you can't? So, like, can you hit someone at 60? Can you hit them at 65?
What if they're in a care home, right? They've got soiled pants. And they're threatening to take you down. Fair game?
Yeah, fair. Dude, you drop kick him. Dude, just push him off his wheelchair.
Yeah.
No, it's self-defense is the only thing I think, or defense of others is the only thing that justifies.
Oh, shut up,
violence.
you passive.
In all cases, John, yeah. Okay.
Wet.
I've been told with dementia patients, you want to like just sort of go along with it. I mean, we're taking it for
granted that he's got dementia.
Like, yeah, no, he definitely didn't have dementia. He's
I think he's just an angry old man who believes I was tailgating him.
I mean, who can blame him?
Now, so we're talking about the worst god this week. Thought we'd take on a light topic.
A light topic, yeah. Not controversial at all.
No. So,
did anybody pick the god?
What? Like the real one?
The god? Don't you come here with your controversial bullshit.
Do you mean the real one?
The real one.
Yeah, the real one.
Nah, you can't pick the real one. I don't have that.
Pick the real one.
I don't have balls for that.
Is that not okay? It's not okay. Okay.
Have you picked the real one?
Off limits. Well, I didn't pick the real one, though. I genuinely thought about it.
Okay. So who would like to go first?
I'll go first if you want. So, yeah, I'll go first. So, no, I will. I'll go first.
Just
Jesus
go,
Christ!
Fucking, why are you hesitating?
For fuck's sake! Honest to God. So I've gone for Loki. Loki from the Norse gods, from Norse mythology.
I thought you were going to say from the Marvel
movies.
Avengers movies.
I didn't know that was a thing until today.
Really?
Yeah.
You are so full of shit. You are so full of shit. No way. How could he possibly? He's like one of the top 5 most visible characters in the last 15 years.
I mean, I don't watch Marvel shit. I haven't seen Spider-Man.
Yeah, but how do you not? That's like.
But what? Like it didn't. That hasn't come up on my Netflix. That hasn't appeared on my radar. So I typed in Loki today. I read Norse mythology over the past week, so I have researched. But then I typed in Loki today on Wikipedia to see if it could tell me anything I didn't already know, and it didn't. And
because you're all knowing.
Except that he's a major Marvel character. Except that he's.
well, that was the first thing that came up, and I thought this is bullshit. And then I had to type in Loki God, and then it knew what I was on about. Then.
And then you realize that the Marvel character was way more relevant
yeah.
than your Greek god.
So yeah, Loki. Anyway, god of mischief and chaos, and a trickster.
Oh yeah.
Shapeshifter.
That's sexy.
So he can.
Yeah. Wait. No. So is this the worst god or the best god?
Yeah, dude.
Well, so that is his edge. To be fair, I think that's what makes him the best, worst god. Is that he's accepted by the gods. He's not like an enemy kind of thing, but he is at the same time.
Well, yeah, he's got mischief. You can't really trust him, right?
So can you tell us anything incriminating about, like, what did he do that's so bad that makes him the worst?
So he killed Balder, Odin's son, Balder the Beautiful, who was loved by everyone. Even
he was the pretty boy, right?
He was the pretty boy. Balder was pretty important. Like, I mean, all the 9 worlds, like everything swore an oath to not hurt Balder. Like every bit of wood, every bit of metal, stone, everything swore an oath.
Wow.
Except for Loki, in the appearance of a giant. And then basically because everything had sworn an oath not to kill Balder, they had this like ceremony thing where they all threw something at Balder. They all tried to kill him, so they were like Thor's throwing his hammer at him, and they're throwing these spears, swords, everything. But Loki knows that mistletoe can kill him, because mistletoe's the only thing that they didn't bother to get an oath from to not kill Balder. So Loki knows this. So he goes to Hod, who was Balder's brother, and he's blind. And he gives him like a mistletoe dart. And he says, right, everyone's doing it. Everyone's having a laugh. Everyone's throwing something at Balder, his boss. You have a go. Here's this little shitty dart. You throw it at him. Throws it at him. Kills Balder. Ooh. So then Balder the Beautiful is dead. Loki's fault. So then Loki goes missing in the form of a salmon.
Because he can shapeshift.
Because he can do that. And then the gods eventually find him. Get him. Long story short, they've got him. They wrap him up in the intestines of his son.
Of Loki's son.
Kill him in front of him, wrap him up in his intestines, and then he's there strapped to a stone, and he's got a snake above his head, dropping venom on him. And his wife is there with a bucket, catching the poison. And then whenever the bucket gets full, she takes it away, and then a bit of venom will get on Loki's head. And then he, obviously writhes in pain and all that. And that's how we get earthquakes. So he's still causing us earthquakes now.
He's being tortured by the snake.
But when the end of the world comes, when Ragnarok comes, Loki's going to get free and he's going to steer the ship of the fucking, the baddies. And he's going to, they're going to win. But then the world's going to get like reborn again. So it'll be fine. But like they will win and Loki will be their king. And he's also the father of like the worst gods, the ones who are going to kill everyone. He's the father of hell.
Oh, yeah?
So
I haven't read that book in ages. So yeah, you have to refresh my memory.
Yeah, so it's Hel, Hel. Yes. And it's a girl who is half living, half dead. And she basically, she is like the warden type thing of this world, which is hell, named after her, and it's where everyone who didn't die honorably goes.
Okay, yeah,
so the honorable ones get to go to Valhalla, Odin's Hall, all of that stuff if you're into your Vikings and your Norse mythology. But the ones who don't die like that, they go to hell.
And so what happens in hell? Like, do they ever describe?
It doesn't. Like in the book, it doesn't go into like like a Christian type hellfire punishment thing. Yeah. It just seems to be like
sexy stuff.
It just seems to be like without honor. Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing. And he also is the father of Fenris Wolf, which is the wolf that can swallow the world in whole, basically, by the time it's fully grown. And he's the father of Jormungandr, the serpent, the Midgard serpent.
Yeah, the world serpent. Yeah.
So Loki is basically the reason why there is chaos and mischief in the world. Like, there's evil, but you know where you stand with evil, don't you? Whereas Loki's something else. Loki adds the chaos to the real world, to the normal world. Exactly.
Yeah, he's unpredictable.
If it wasn't for Loki, all the gods. If it wasn't for Loki, all the gods would just get along and agree on everything, and everything would be fine. And all the stories are like that. The gods are a lot more. The other gods are much more simple than him. Like, some of them are clever, but simple. And it just seems like everything would just be all right, and they get along, and they'd know what was going on. And then Loki just adds the spark, you know what I mean? Creates the chaos. So he's the best one. He's the most interesting. But he's the worst god.
By proxy, he sounds pretty fucking cool, dude.
Nah, he definitely is. He definitely is.
Yeah, I don't know, man. He sounds like kind of a badass. He reminds me of Aku in Samurai Jack.
I remember Aku, yeah.
You know? Yeah, shapeshifter. He's pretty evil, but changes shape. It's the main thing. Very similar.
Wait, wasn't there a story of when he turned into a horse and then fucked the horse and had horse babies, but he was the one who gave birth?
So
yeah, wasn't that Zeus? I thought that was Zeus. Didn't Zeus?
A lot of these stories are similar.
Yeah, no, I mean, the Roman and the Greek gods are all the same gods with different names. Basically.
Yeah. It's the story of the builder who comes to build the wall, and he says that he can build the biggest wall that will keep out the frost giants and all the enemies. And when Thor's not there with his hammer to defend them, then this wall will keep them all safe. And the builder comes, and long story short, turns out he's a giant.
Oh shit!
Yeah, exactly. And Thor's not there.
How big are these giants? Does it specify?
Well, there's a world of giants. There's a whole world of giants. And if it wasn't for Thor, we'd be fucked.
So, like, your average giant, how big was your average giant?
I'm gonna go on I'm gonna say a giant's got to be 50 foot at least, innit?
50 foot.
I mean, yeah, giants. Like, I don't mean like a clinical giant,
like Bigfoot.
You know what I mean? Like 9 foot, and he's got some disorder.
Well, that's what I'm trying to think. Because I mean, if you're 15 feet, you're still pretty fucking big.
You
right?
are, but I mean a proper mythical giant.
Like a Godzilla.
Yeah, like a god killer, a literal god killer. You know what I mean? One of these ones.
He's a bad god. He's a bad guy, but there's no way he's the worst. There's no way he's the worst. He sounds pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, he sounds cool. I'm on Loki's side here.
No, he's the worst because you need to know where you stand with people, don't you? And the same thing applies to gods. Loki, you think he's your mate. You'd even need him.
Yeah, bro. I'm not convinced. I think he sounds pretty cool.
So I agree. He is cool.
He's not even necessarily bad.
Why? Why is he not bad? Why is he not bad? He literally ends the fucking world. He gives birth. He fathers the 3 gods that destroy the world, and he is the captain of think Game of Thrones, think the Army of the Dead, right? Loki's their general. When all things end, Loki's their
Sometimes
general.
Loki helps, right? Sometimes Loki helps.
He only helps problems which he's created. Like when he cuts off Thor's wife's hair, and then he has to go and get it. But he's the one who did it in the first place.
Like a petty,
the builder
joke.
Yeah, he is a joker. He is a joker.
It's just like having a naughty child. Little Tommy. He's just not ready for the real world yet. You know,
he's just not ready.
You two being very flippant.
No,
Loki's
because my god's way more metal than your god.
Go on then.
All right, so my god is the Aztec god of the sun, Huitzilopochtli. I need to look at it again.
Say that again.
Huitzilopochtli. Yeah, it's not actually as hard to say as you would think. When you look at it, it's a pretty long name with lots of consonants. But really, so he's the Aztec god of the sun and of war. So when the Spanish conquered the Aztecs, they had stories of how the Aztecs were just like slaughtering people for sacrifice, like rip out their beating hearts, all sorts of shit, right? Like toss their bodies down these temples. And for a long time it was thought that this is a complete exaggeration to justify like genocide, basically. And it turns out that while there probably was some exaggeration, they did in fact slaughter like thousands and thousands of people and dump their bodies down the steps of these temples for this god.
And what's the sacrifice for? Like what's it
to keep the sun moving across the sky? Because if Huitzilopochtli doesn't get his blood, the sun does not rise, and things get even worse.
Yeah, dude, no sun, no life. I get that, bro. I mean,
yeah. So like, he is not only is he like bloodthirsty as fuck, but like, okay, if it was in like a story, like a sci-fi, he would be like clearly the evil one, right? You know what I mean? Like if it was in like a fantasy setting, or like if you were writing a fiction novel, right? How could you pick a god that's more evil, that just demands human sacrifice? Like constant violent human sacrifice.
And is it like, say times are hard and the fucking harvest is shit this year or something like that? Is everyone just going and sacrificing to Huitzilopochtli?
So I imagine they sacrificed to lots of them. But he was the god of war and the sun, so he was like responsible for everything basically. If they won, I think they sacrificed to give thanks, and if they lost, I think they sacrificed because
was he their only god?
They had other gods too.
But was he the main one?
He was the big one.
Yeah.
He was the one who was fighting the night god, which is like, how fucked up is that theology? That the god who demands that you rip out people's hearts and like fucking eat them. You know what I mean? That's the good guy. That's the one you're fighting for. He is your best chance.
Well, you're doing it out of fear, because if you don't do it, he's gonna fuck you up.
Yeah, I mean that is a fucking brutal theology there. Yeah. It's no big deal because he's our best option.
Was there any criteria or rules on who got sacrificed?
So they at one point there was these things where the Aztecs would basically like, they would fight wars not for conquest but just to get slaves.
Yeah.
And a lot of them were inevitably sacrificed.
Okay.
They said that the only way to get to heaven, I think, was to be a warrior or to die in childbirth.
Because you see stuff, I don't know how true it is, where like in some of these religions, it's like an honor to be sacrificed. Do you reckon it's like that?
You got to think some of the people did think it was going to be like a good thing.
So in this fella's defense, right? If you subscribe to their belief, he serves a good purpose, doesn't he?
Well, he's the sun bringer.
He brings light, so he brings life. Whereas if you subscribe to the Norse beliefs, Loki brings nothing but mischief and chaos.
But he will help if he's caused shit. Like every time he's caused shit, he's the first one to help fix the shit he's caused.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, if that's what you believe, then Witsy's Witsy's pretty decent, isn't he? Like, all right, people die, but that's not like he's bringing in the light. He's bringing life.
Yeah, but so imagine if you live in the empire next to the Aztecs, right? You do not believe in Huitzilopochtli, and people are just fucking ripping your friends' hearts out because of this. You know what I mean? Fucking just like,
that's why you don't make friends with out of towners.
They rip out his beating fucking heart and like give it to the sun. You know what I mean? Like, come on. If that wasn't a TV show or a movie, you'd be like, okay, this is ridiculous. This is over the top evil. You know what I mean? like no fucking way. You know what I mean? Like,
it is
like the Holocaust is way more believable than this shit.
That must have been shocking to see. Like, I mean, I say that the Europeans going over to the Americas would have been doing some pretty heavy shit at home, like, spinning people on the wheel and fucking hung, drawn and quartered and all that shit. But still, like, when you go over there and see these blood sacrifices on the pyramid,
I'm sure they could all like justify their violence, right?
Was this god
to make theirs not shocking?
Huitzilopochtli, was he one of those gods that interacted with the mortal man?
Yes, he was the one who told them where to found the Aztec capital, which is now Mexico City.
Okay.
So yes, to in respect to Maddie's earlier point, yeah, if you are an Aztec follower or a believer in their theology, he is the good guy. I mean, he's the big man.
Yeah, I mean, that makes my god worse, doesn't it?
Any final closing arguments for why Azpilicueta?
I don't think we're finished with Witsy Witsy yet.
We're not.
I just think he makes the whole fucking Mexican region that whole region.
Right,
of
so John's
southern
getting
Mexico,
racist now, everyone.
Yeah, I'm getting racist now. That whole region of southern Mexico is terrorized because of this like super warlike empire, and part of that is based on this god who is just the most blood. He just demands sacrifice.
Are you directly linking the cartel to Witsy Witsy?
That's what I heard.
That's a really bold statement. I'm not sure I'm ready to make that claim.
El Chapo with
the
an
title of your
Aztec
next
god.
paper in it.
Yeah, let's steal the bottle and the
And the rise of the cartel.
cartels. That's see now you guys are making me second guess myself. I spent like half an hour this morning trying to learn how to pronounce that word, and now it's become meaningless. When I say it, it's just a collection of random syllables.
Oh, Humpty Dumpty.
Okay, now that's being racist, man. He's the sun god.
Wait,
He's the sun god. Yo, Matty, you're the racist shit, dude.
Yeah, if anyone's being offensive, it's probably me. Like,
that self-awareness is half the battle, though.
yeah. No, as long as you got that, it's fine. You can say what you want. So, if you were living in Mexico, it's not saying this religion's not as old as you think, is it? Like you think it's like Greek Rome, but it's not. It's only a few hundred years old. This
It's not that old, no. Right. I'm just saying, if you lived in that region of Mexico at the time, that would be fucking terrifying. Like if that it is in an insanely violent religion. You know what I mean?
is it a violent culture?
I have no idea. I think it was pretty prosperous.
Yeah.
I think things worked out pretty well, but it certainly had its military aspects to it. I imagine it's a violent culture, but I honestly couldn't tell you. I just researched the gods. I didn't do a deep dive into Aztec society.
So Humpty Dumpty doesn't sound that bad.
I think I've made my point. I can't think of any other god that's worse than that.
I don't think you have, if I'm honest, but that's fine. We'll move on.
Let's let the viewers decide, the listeners.
Sacrifice is mad, obviously, to us. But the theory behind sacrifice, I think, would be like the bigger the sacrifice, the greater you're going to please the god.
Yeah,
I mean,
it kept the sun moving, right? It was pretty fucking important. It's just such a twisted ideology. Can you like?
it is, but I said this before, but if you believe in it, it's a good thing. In terms of like staying true to your beliefs and what you think is going to make your world better.
I would much rather if you could have any god just pop into existence. Okay, just hypothetically, this is the real argument. We should have thought of this earlier. If that god were to come into existence right now, which one would you rather have come into existence? The sun god that demands human sacrifice, or some like shape-shifting trickster that just like kind of wants to have a good time?
The shape-shifting trickster.
Well, yeah, I mean, it depends if you think this god is actually real and made the world.
But if they were both real, if they were, you definitely the worst one, the one that you would least want to exist.
If they're both real, then mine is worse, because if they're both real, we need yours to have any life at all, full stop. If they're not real, and we're like,
how horrible would that be?
If we're forcibly made to accept the beliefs of this religion, then yours is worse.
Theoretically, you could have Loki coexist with this world right now. Theoretically, you could have Loki coexist with everything right now, and things wouldn't be like that different.
Let me tell you about a worse god. I'm going to tell you about a worse god right now.
Do it.
I'm going to tell you about a god that comes from Greek mythology. This god is Zeus. Have you guys heard of this god?
Was he in the Hercules? All I know about Greek mythology comes from the Hercules Disney movie.
Yeah, that's a pretty pansy painting of Zeus. Yeah, he's pretty good there. He's quite a nice guy, but it's Disney.
What do you mean? He's in this dude, faithful husband.
Faithful husband. Oh yeah, for sure.
Family man. Your faithful husband and family man. He's got that cool like glowing beard. I wanted to be him so bad.
Why is Zeus bad?
But anyway, why Zeus is a dick? Zeus was a human hater. He hated humans. He hated mortals. So one thing,
Why?
His dad eats kids.
His dad eats kids. He was raised not in a great home, dude.
That's a good point.
And he was raised on an island by himself, wasn't he?
Well, there was a nymph that raised him on goat's milk, so he was not
A nymph.
a nymph.
What is a nymph?
Like a fairy, right? Like a woodland fairy. Okay. According to Cambridge, it's a goddess or spirit in the form of a young woman living in a tree, river, mountain, whatever.
So yeah, anyway, Zeus was a human hater. He thought they were wicked and unredeemable and they were just a terrible creation. But so his first smite against humans is he wanted to deprive humanity of meat. So when he demanded sacrifice, he demanded the meat and he would give bones to humans because he thought, fuck these humans. They can get bones. They can subsist on a bone diet, basically. Prometheus tricked him and made him choose between whether it was meat or bones, and Zeus chose wrong, and he was very fucking pissed off with this. So what he did was he deprived fire from humans, and fire is the tool for light. It is the tool for...
Oh, shit. So they had meat but no way to cook it?
Meat but no way to cook it. Now they had meat but no way to cook it.
That sounds like something Loki would do,
That's fucked.
That sounds like something Loki would
do. But Loki would do it for fun. Zeus did it out of spite because he hated humans.
Yeah, and you know what fucking the sun god would do? Not give you any fucking meat at all.
No meat. You just...
he just demand hearts.
I mean, do you know that? Is there not loads of meat for the living? As much meat for the living as they want?
Well, I mean, I guess if you subscribe, I guess he's in charge of everything.
Doesn't sound like a vegan to me.
No, he's not a vegan.
He wouldn't be a vegan, no. But so Zeus is spiteful.
He's a spiteful puss. So then Prometheus somehow manages to steal fire back from the sun, and Zeus is really pissed off about this. So what he does, he punishes Prometheus by chaining him to a rock for eternity. And there's an eagle that devours his intestines every day, but Prometheus can regenerate his health. So every day he heals and he's set to eternity to be devoured by an eagle.
So is this ongoing?
Ongoing.
So similar to Loki, Loki's currently, getting the venom dropped on his face. And
to have your intestines eaten away every day.
Out of spite for the fact that Prometheus tried to save fire for the humans. What a dick, Zeus. Zeus thought that humanity was irredeemable, beyond saving. So, yeah, Zeus and Poseidon decided to flood the earth to purge humanity, except for two people that survived because they were forewarned by Prometheus. A little bit familiar to other religious stories.
I love how these stories overlap. It's so interesting to me.
I mean, what are you getting at?
I'm not getting at anything. What are you getting at?
I'm not getting at nothing.
I'm not getting at anything.
Look, if you're implying that not every word in the Bible is 1,000% true, then we're gonna have to stop this.
Oh, stop it, John!
You stop your shit, motherfucker.
I just want to make the subtext text right now. Okay, I won't have you insinuate these kinds of things on my podcast.
So you think Noah's Ark didn't happen?
No, that's what I'm saying. It did happen.
Right? Yeah.
Definitely happened. Definitely.
Oh, good. Okay.
We're all in agreement on that one.
Zeus gave out other punishments, like he forced Atlas to hold up the sky. He imprisoned his dad to be imprisoned in their version of hell, which is Tartarus. He's a spiteful.
Does he ever do good things?
I mean, he does good things.
Don't leave them out. Come on, give us a balanced report.
Give us a balanced.
I mean, he was God of the sky and the earth, and he provided for those that followed in his beliefs and ideals. But the moment you crossed him, he wouldn't just get rid of you. He would spite you and torture you.
Yeah, all right, so he's firm.
Zeus was like a rapey boy. He was not a good husband. He was very adulterous.
I think rape goes a little bit beyond adulterous.
Okay, so I mean, he would sleep with women behind his wife's back, which I mean, doesn't make him the worst god, but he would shapeshift into husbands of wives to sleep with them. He would shapeshift into animals to sleep with them. There's one story of where Zeus shapeshifted into a bull and became good friends with one of these other gods, and she trusted him so much that she got on his back and he kidnapped her and then raped her.
If you could shapeshift into Machine Gun Kelly, would you do it?
To sleep with Megan Fox?
I mean...
Into Machine Gun Kelly. Yeah, dude, I totally would. Absolutely.
I mean, so look, I haven't got a very long argument, but he was a human hater and he was a spiteful guy that would torture people, that would try to save humans. He tried to eradicate humans by purging them with the floods with Poseidon.
To be honest, he sounds worse than Loki.
He's definitely worse than Loki, for sure.
I'm not sure he is. Again, you know where you stand.
A lot of these Greek gods are the worst because they were all flawed characters, but all their modern portrayals portray them to be these like upstanding gods that fought the righteous fights, and none of them were. They all did terrible things. They were all incestuous. They all punished out of spite and jealousy.
Is it Zeus who turns into a swan and rapes a woman?
Yeah,
Yes,
I
that's
thought
him.
so.
That's
Yeah. I don't know what's that stuff telling you about. I mean, there's a poem, isn't there? We did it in school. I think it's called "The Lady and the Swan." Is it Yeats?
It's pretty
Yates.
pretty bad, man. It's pretty bad. I think that's worse than. I mean,
what's that tell you about the Greeks, though?
They're a bunch of perverts.
I mean, surely it's got to be a bit of a reflection. Like, if there's a lot of rape going on there,
Yeah, and
it's not rape by our standards. It's actually described as rape.
It's described as non-consensual, or he uses his powers to seduce them, and it's implied rape because apparently, well, the way it comes across is that eventually they give in after either days, years, months of persistence, or just shapeshifting and raping.
Shapeshifting and raping.
Shapeshifting and rape.
Well, I suppose at least they must have known it was wrong if these stories are framed that way.
I don't know, but if he's your god and he's doing all these things, you got to think that's like an implicit, like not that
implicit,
bad.
like it's okay, or like
implicitly, like it's not a big deal. If Zeus does it, how bad can it be?
I think you might be onto something. Like it's strange that it's that prevalent in the stories. I don't know if it's in Norse mythology
or mythos,
but I'm saying I don't know if it's in.
Oh, you mean that
Norse
sort of
stuff? I don't think it comes up in the book I've read. Anyway,
the game and children's book. Yeah,
but in Greek mythology, it seems to come up.
There's no sex in the children's book. As a Democrat, I'm outraged.
The pictures were good.
The pictures were good. You can take anything away from it.
They did like where the lines come out a bit so that you don't go over when you're coloring. Like you stay within.
Lines, thick bold
Yeah.
Which god did you color in first?
Loki, obviously.
What color did you use?
A lot of black, a lot of grey. Yeah. Did them with his nets because Loki invented the net, obviously.
Coloring is how Maddie gets his feelings out.
It is. It really is. That and dark poetry.
Well, Yasmin's watching the Kardashians. Maddie's just in the back, just furiously coloring.
Yeah, Zeus is the worst, and
use and it's not your fault. I forgive yous, but yous all picked very one-dimensional gods. Which
one-dimensional
is fine, and it's all right.
So now I'm actually really torn. Now I'm really torn because I went from thinking Zeus was the worst. Loki is
definitely the least worst. Yeah.
If you just removed Loki from the equation, like nothing would be worse, right?
If you removed Loki from the world, it would be lovely and pleasant.
If a god did exist, any of them did have to exist, right? You would want it to be Loki of our four gods.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
Right? Bullshit. Oh, fuck off.
You would, right? Like he would be the one where you're just like, oh, he got me again.
You got to take it with the context because Loki's not God. This is polytheistic, yeah? Loads of gods.
Sorry, guys, I'm late for work. Loki fucked up the roads again. Oh, Loki, no big deal, whatever.
Oh, what a silly god.
Yes.
Loki.
Bullshit this.
God damn it, Loki. Not today.
Not today.
I don't know for it. That would be annoying. It would be bad. I'm not saying Loki's good. I'm not saying I would want a world with Loki, but I'm just saying he would be preferable. Of all the shit sandwiches to eat, I would prefer to eat that particular shit sandwich.
If you were a god, what would you be the god of?
Oh god, you put me on the spot there, didn't you? Rastafarianism's cool. I'll be the god of smoke and ganj. That'd be all right.
Yeah, probably something similar.
Nah, I said it. Don't fucking copy me.
Well, what the fuck would I mean, I don't. There's plenty of things. God, there's only.
Oh, we have a name on, mate.
I'd like to be the god of like wine and partying. You know what I mean? That would be the best god. That's the god that everyone wants. What was that? Dionysus? I want to be him.
Oh, Dionysus. Yeah, the god of wine.
I think he was the god. Yeah, he's the god of like all the good stuff. I don't understand why he's not the bigger god. Maybe because he's just not as powerful as Zeus, but he just seemed like fucking cool. I think it's Dionysus. Hold on, let me.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Yeah.
Right. He just was like when I looked this up the other day. He just was like really cool. Okay, he's the god of grape harvest, winemaking, orchards, fruit, vegetation, fertility, insanity, religious ecstasy, festivity, and theater.
Okay,
sounds like
that
you.
is the god. Yeah, that is the god.
Yeah. So insanity, insanity is just the flip side to creativity. Okay, that's just, he just comes with the territory. It's just the flip side. That's all it is. You can't have one without the other, man. You can't have a one-sided coin. All right.
No, he's right.
We'd love to hear your thoughts on which god you thought was the worst. You can get a hold of us on Facebook and Instagram at Worst of the Worst Pod, or on Twitter at Worst of Worst Pod, or shoot us an email at worstoftheworstpod@gmail.com.